Hi, thanks for joining me. We're making our way through the 10 Commandments. Today I'd like to look with you at Commandment number 4, the commandment about Shabbat. So we're all familiar with Shabbat, right? It's a beautiful time to be together with our family or come together as a community, maybe eat some challah, have a special dinner, go to a bar mitzvah. It's a beautiful communal celebration, usually Shabbat. But did you know that Shabbat in the Torah was something really quite different? Shabbat from the Torah doesn't mention bar mitzvahs, doesn't mention prayer, doesn't mention synagogue. Shabbat from the Torah was this commandment with this radical idea of rest, that every human being was entitled to a full day, 25 hours of rest. It's hard to imagine not having a weekend or a summer vacation or a day off. But in the Torah's era, time was actually governed by two things. First, our time was governed by the season, and time was governed by daylight. If it was sunlight outside, then it was time to be outside and working. And for regular people, someone else controlled our time. It might have been a boss or a wealthy landowner. Time was not our own. And so the Torah brings this radical idea that time belongs to us, to every individual, one day a week on Shabbat. We're not governed by sun up or sundown, and we're not governed by another human being who tells us when we can work and when we can rest. The fourth commandment of Shabbat actually spells out who exactly is to be included in this day of rest. Because we might think that it's just Jewish people or wealthy people or people who are their own bosses who can take this day off. But the Torah very specifically says that many more categories of people are included in this commandment than we might think. The Torah says, "You shall not do any manner of work, you, nor your son, nor your daughter, nor your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger that is within your gates." All of those categories of people are allowed to rest, and even animals, on Shabbat. Shabbat, this gift of a day of rest, I think is actually helping us overcome a real challenge that we face in our world today. And that is that we work so hard and we're so busy and we're so overwhelmed sometimes by errands and family and chores and professional responsibilities that we don't have time to simply be, to just be ourselves and to let go of all of those responsibilities. And so even before we had this crazy modern world where our schedules are overpacked and we're all running in a million different directions, the Torah understood the importance of allowing each human being to have a time to desist, to not do anything, to not create anything, to not contribute or solve or produce anything, but simply to be. And that's the gift of Shabbat. And this fourth commandment also reiterates this very important message of the Torah, that we're all created in God's image. So when it comes to this commandment of resting on Shabbat, it's not just for Jewish people. It's not just for adults. It's for men and women and children and people we know and people we don't know and people who are like us and people who are not like us and even animals. Everyone deserves the dignity of a day of rest. That's the beauty of this commandment, the fourth commandment, to observe Shabbat. So thank you all so much for watching. I look forward to continuing to learn about the 10 Commandments with you. See you next time.